Hi and welcome to the second video of this series in which I am fitting out this van behind me for soft washing and exterior window cleaning. In this video I am getting the van floor ready for waterproofing. We cannot waterproof the van floor until we have drilled all of the holes which are needed to fix down all of the equipment. If you drill a hole and don't seal it up correctly, then there is potential for damage to the van floor, for rusting, and if that water travels and gets into the chassis, then you can rot the chassis. So we don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that everything fits, all lines up, all the holes are good, and then we're going to protect wherever you've drilled and fill it with a silicone and make sure that we've done the best job possible of sealing up any holes which we drill in the van floor. But getting to that point of having everything drilled is quite a lot of work because you have to dry fit everything and make sure that you're happy, and then take everything out, waterproof it, and then refit everything. We need to drill holes for the Softwash skid, the 2 deionized water tanks, the drain holes and the Softwash skid vent holes, and there is also a hole there for one of our hose reels which is mounted inside the van, and there's a hole in the floor which lets the hose through a roller and out the van, so you can work with the van door closed. This is quite a long and technical video, but I do hope that this is going to bring a lot of value to you if you are undertaking a project like this yourself. If you are buying a system and having it installed by somebody else, then I hope this video does bring you some value in so much as that you know what goes on in the background, or the ins and outs of what is involved in installing a Softwash system, or even if you want to articulate to somebody who is going to build a system for you, then I hope you may be able to take some parts or some bits or ideas from what I'm doing in this video series and pass that on so that your soft washing business can be as efficient as possible. So let's crack on into the video, and we're going to start off showing some of the fabrication of the 2 deionized water tank frames.
I'm fabricating the tank frames in 2 parts. The bottom bars, which are seen here, which stop any movement forward and back, left and right, and the top frames, which holds the top of the tank in position. The top frames are going to be fixed to the van pillars and also have a second function of a stillage for holding our soft wash chemicals.
One of the advantages of making your own frame or working with somebody who can make you a frame is you can plan everything out and it can be exactly how you want it. I know that I'm going to want to empty out this van sporadically, and I'm going to want to take out these tanks, so I'm making it so that it can be unbolted easily and the whole lot just unbolted out, and at least from the Softwash skid forward I can empty that out reasonably quickly.
These photos show the orientation of the angle iron which hold the top of the upright tank in position. You will see here that the toe of the angle iron on the right hand side is up, which allows it to be flush against the van pillars and then allows for the bolted connection. The toe of the angle iron on the other side of the tank is down, which enables a very secure connection. I'm using 50 by 50 by 3mm stainless steel angle iron for the bottom bars and for the top frames, and I'm using 50 by 3mm and 25 by 3mm flat bar to join the 2 together and to fabricate the stillages. This is the front bottom bar of the upright tank. You can see down on the bottom left hand side how I had to notch it out for the outlet of the water tank.
So I'm just halfway through making up the tank frame for this upright tank here. You can see we managed to bolt through to a pillar stainless steel frame on the top, which is going to double as a stillage for our BioCleanse, and of course down below there as well you will see the stainless steel frame to hold the bottom.
Here I am fitting the middle bulkhead bar. If you remember back from the last video, this runs straight across the van and separates the Softwash skid and everything forward of it. This bar also serves as the rear bottom bars for the 2 water tanks. Here I slot it in, and you can see how it joins up to one of the side bottom bars of the upright tank. And all the holes align, which is great. With the upright tank now complete, I can mark and drill the holes in the van floor.
So here I am under the van, and I basically just marked off the steels above and drilled a pilot hole, and now I'm drilling back up with a 12mm drill bit. So you've got to be really careful. You don't want to be drilling into a fuel tank or anything daft like that. So one hole there, one hole there. You can see the plywood for the top, and then like so, and there is the pilot from above, which we're going to open up now. So I've decided to use these dome-headed bolts, drill the holes in the steel slightly bigger, or grind down the square shank, and they'll sit down nice and flush. It's going to make cleaning or keeping these part of the van clean easier than if you had a big hex machine bolt. This will be nice and smooth to make life easier for cleaning and keeping that track clear, because I've got a tank here and a tank here, and it's separated by 2 angles like that, and so this track is easier to keep clean and easier to store whatever we decide to store in this little track here. Oh, a new tank arrived. If anybody wondered if I was using the old tank, no, that was just to get the dimensions. So getting that. So I've got this one here to drill now. I'll probably stick a hole here, every 200, something like that, as and where I can, basically underneath it. What I'm using as a guide is these tie down hooks, the bolts underneath there. Locate those and you can measure back in 2 dimensions to get your holes to fit down, know roughly where your holes are going to be, so that you're not going to end up putting your drill through a pipe, a brake pipe, fuel tank, electrical wire, something like that. So you can check everything 2 or 3 times before you drill. Okay, I hope that's helpful. It's a hell of a lot less daunting when you know you got these bolts to work from. So these are the tie down strap bolts, which you can see above, and these are what I'm using to align or to decide where to drill my hole. So I can now measure that off that straight across in this direction, across in parallel to the next one, and I can see there straight away I've got all that space there to fix these through. It's gonna work in absolutely spot on. So the bar is gonna come along here and along here and along here all the way down to the other one. We just go inside and I'll show you what I mean. So this is the underside of where the bar is going, that being the ratchet strap tie down, or the tie down hook bolt. There we go. So there's the tie down bolt. That's where our bar is going. It's going straight across there. And I don't know if you noticed,
But there's a row of screws, and these screws here, they are also on the underside, so I can use those to orientate myself as well. So I'm going to throw a tape on this, mark up this bar, drill this bar, use that to mark my holes in this, and then drill that. So I'm just getting ready to fit this bar and mark off the holes for drilling, which will allow us to then fit the second flat tank. Just a couple of things about this bar. You'll notice the number of holes of them. There's quite a few. They're spaced around every 200 to 250. And the reason for that is I want to have this clamped quite tightly down onto the plywood. It's going to prevent anything flowing forward from the Softwash skid. Should we spring a leak in the Softwash skid or anywhere in that area, then all the water is not going to get past this bar, meaning it's not going to run forward into the front of the van, and that's the reason that's one long piece. And at the end there's three small holes. So one of the holes is for our 220 power in, the other hole is for our 12 volt live coming in from the battery for our split charge relay, and the third hole is a spare just in case I've not thought of anything. So I'm going to fit this bar now, mark the holes and drill it. Now, that's quite satisfying. Wonderful. I just pulled the tank back, and you can start to see how this is all going to look. So that's the holes drilled from the top. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go underneath, check all the holes are in the correct position and they're not fouling anything, and then I'm going to drill them out with a 12mm drill bit to accept the bolts, and come back up top then and drill through the timber. That way, if a hole is in the wrong position, I can move it and not have to drill the timber. I will have to drill the bar again, and that would be very unfortunate. Got stainless steel is a bitch to drill. So, okay, let's go do that. There's one there ready to be drilled, another, and another. They all look to be in the right spot. I actually found it easier to come up top and drill from the top down. The holes were that clear of any obstacles. I just said, let's just go up top and drill from the top down, because I was finding it difficult to drill the floor from underneath, getting the pressure on the drill. So that's what we did. We just come straight up and go straight down through the timber, and that's worked out lovely. So I'm gonna get that fitted into position and start working on this tank here, get that ready to rock and roll. Whilst I have this tank in position, I've decided where I'm going to put my hose reel. I've got some angle iron supports to put onto that. I've made them sturdy enough so that I can fit an electric reel in the future should I wish to do that. It's just going to go on the end here. We're going to put a hole in the floor for the hose to go through, and so then through a couple of rollers, and that will mean it can go straight out and basically any direction we like from here. And again, rolling it back in, we can just roll it in up through the roller. Let's get cracking. That's our flat tank nearly completed. I just didn't want to fit it down firmly and start drilling holes in the floor until I knew it was in the exact
right position, and to do that I had to link the two tanks up, and it turns out that this space down here turned out nice and handy for fitting our pure water manifold. So you see there, you've got a pipe coming out over there going into T, which feeds up, and that's going to actually go to the Softwash skid to use this water. Should we ever want to use this water, we can tie off that, and then comes forward, and then you go to this T, which goes to a pump which will be mounted on that strap there. Obviously we can isolate it, and then we got another T here, which goes to this pump, which then goes to our hose reel, which is going to be up here. The idea of the union there, of course, is for ease of fitting, servicing, etc, etc. So there we go, that's the manifold all in. So now I know that the left hand flat tank there is in the exact right position for my manifold, and so I can drill the holes in the steels and in the floor and fix the tank. If anybody is wondering how I'm drilling the holes in the steels, I use a magnetic based drill, which is this lad. Basically you clamp down your bar, make sure the bar is nice and clamped solid. If it's not solid and it vibrates, you're going to break your bit. Those bits are about €30 each, so you don't want to be doing that. Lots of cutting fluid. Line your holes up, and because that's stuck to this bit of steel, which is in a vise, this won't go anywhere. You see, it's clamped because this is a big magnet here. That's what you do, and then turn on the drill. Start drilling. Some of the more expensive magnetic drills have variable speeds. So if you're drilling stainless, for example, you can turn down the speed so it doesn't get as hot, so it doesn't get as hard, and so it's not as hard on your bits. That's this bar ready. So I can offer this up against the tank, which we know is in the right position, mark the holes, and drill the floor. What I've got to do now is work out how to attach this top stillage to the bottom bars. This top stillage and holding down bracket to the bottom bar. I'll come up with something, but from experience I don't want to have angle iron down here because that traps dirt and moisture. I want to have a nice flat bar. So I've just fabricated 4 of these to go onto our flat baffle tank. These are going to hold the top to the bottom. Now I've made it out of some really heavy flat bar, and the reason for this is to take any twist out of what might happen to the top. It's going to be very, very strong. It's only a short span, so there's no real weight issues. But using the light flat bar, there was a potential for twist of this in relation to the bottom pieces. So these heavy flat bars are going to tie it in nicely. I'm welding the flat bars onto the bottom bar, and the bolted connection is going to be onto the top. And if you're ever doing any fabrication jobs like this, a little tip for you is not to fully weld them all in one go, especially when you're welding heavy plate onto lighter plate, because you'll buckle the lighter material if you weld it all up in one go. So what I'm doing, I'm just welding maybe half of it. I'll let it cool right down, and then I'll weld the other half, and that way this bar here won't bend into an S-hook. Before we waterproof the van floor, we are going to dry fit everything. That's why we spent the time and we built these tanks, tank frames, and I'm pretty sure I thought of everything. So I've got holes in the floor now holding down the tank frames. They've all been drilled. I put the Softwash skid in and the holes have been drilled for that. I've drilled the holes for the vent holes off the lightning cleanse tank, because I want that tank to be vented down to the ground, so that it's not vented to the inside of the cab, which can promote corrosion. The holes drilled for the drainage around the van in different places. I have holes drilled for draining out water or chemical spills or anything which spills in the van when we're cleaning it out. There's nice drain holes. I think that's it. It's not the end of the world if I have to drill another hole. It's just a lot nicer and easier if they're all done. We can seal them all up and do a nice job on them, and then everything comes back in and fits. Let's empty this out and let's get ready to waterproof this van floor. And I think that's going to be the end of this video. So if you want to see the rest of this video series, please like and subscribe, hit the notification button, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when I've got another video coming out. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.